3, 2, 1, and we're live on the Nobody's Famous podcast, and we're back for season 2, episode 2, with none other than Nawal El Masri. It's a pleasure to have you and to be in your presence, honestly.
It's a pleasure to be here and
Thank
to be
you.
unfamous.
Unfamous.
What is the non-famous word?
Well, actually, that's a good point. Well, unknown? Just not known?
Yeah.
Not known. Thank you for being here. It's a pleasure.
Thank you for having me.
I'm gonna jump right into it. It's so appropriate that we're discussing. We're having this show now, and 10th of October was World Mental Health Day, and the Joker just came out, which had a lot of this kind of perspective on mental health. And your fashion brand supports mental health as well. I wanna start hard here and just tell me how did anxiety affect you?
It affected me in my... How did it affect me? You did start strong, huh? It affected me in so many ways. Anxiety has been affecting me since I was 16 years old. Due to it being a stigma, it was not looked over as I was young, and it wasn't paid attention to. But as I grew older, around 24, I realized that it needs attention, it needs care. You need to befriend it and accept it. How it affected me and what made me reach that realization is a lot of panic attacks, not being able to do the right decisions maybe, foggy mind, physical pain. When it moves from panic attacks into you cure the panic attacks, and then that goes on for a couple of years, you think you're fine. Then it comes back and it shows itself as physical pain, where your nerves, your hand would probably just die out completely, or your foot would die out completely. Once that ends, it manifests itself into the brain. Well, that's my journey, at least. It manifests itself into my brain, where it started fogging up, physically couldn't see.
Oh, wow. You're very specific.
Yeah.
On what's been happening to you.
Yeah. The pain has made me specific.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, no, the reason I'm asking is because you mentioned that you didn't know that you were suffering from it.
No, I knew ever since I was 16, but just like I said, it was never looked upon, that you kind of go through life thinking something is wrong other than that. And it was never focused on until I turned 24, because that's when I started being more aware about, okay, there's something called anxiety. There's something called depression. They're actually serious. They're not just what people say, oh, everybody has anxiety.
Everybody's
Let
depressed.
it go. Everyone's
كله
depressed.
زعلان. Everybody's depressed.
Yeah, and don't worry about it. It's just like a phase. Maybe you're just going through a bad time or a bad phase. And you start thinking, maybe it is. But then the pain is still there, or whatever physical pain is manifesting itself is still there, and you start wondering. That's when you start wondering, oh, what if I have cancer? What if I have a tumor? What if I have something affecting my body? And you start obsessing over things because you're trying to find a solution, you know? Yeah. And really, all it was is that I needed to focus and educate myself on what it means to have anxiety, severe anxiety, mild anxiety. It differs. Or what it means to have severe depression or any kind of mental illness. So that's when I took the journey to really educate myself. I had gone to the doctor once when I was driving, my hand fully died out, my hand and foot fully died out. I was driving on Sheikh Zayed Road, and I just stood on the side of the road, and I'm like, this has just gone overboard. I really need to find out what's happening. So I go to a nerve doctor, and he tests me all over, my heart, my nerves, my body, whatever, my brain, sorry. And he goes, this is the report, and it's fully healthy. And I was happy, but I was devastated, because I'm like, if I'm healthy, then what is happening? And it wasn't happening at the time at the doctor's office. So as soon as he got in the report, my hand actually died out.
It was not the answer you were expecting. Maybe you were probably expecting something.
So maybe I got anxious and my hand died out, but I don't know what it was. But I kind of showed him that it's happening right now and I can't move my hand. And he came to me and he started checking me and he's like, have you ever gone to see a psychiatrist? I'm like, no. Why? Why are you saying that? He goes like, I genuinely believe you have like severe anxiety or some sort of something that is psychological, and it's nothing to do because here's the report. And he's like, I strongly believe it is anxiety, and if you'd like that, I can prescribe you pills. Now.
Wow. Okay.
And he's not a psychologist. And I looked at him, I'm like, if you prescribe me these pills, do I have another option? He's like, yeah, you can go take care of yourself. I looked at him.
Meaning?
Exactly. I looked at him. I don't know what that means. I was 24, not educated, educating myself. So I looked at him. I'm like, meaning, he said, just go nourish your brain.
It's quite vague, but okay.
Vague. So I looked at him. I'm like, all right, thank you. And I left. Ever since then, I started starting really getting into how do you treat anxiety, what it is. I didn't go to a psychologist or any kind of psychiatrist yet at the time. But yeah, that's when it started.
Okay.
The journey of education.
Well, I mean, in a way, there is some positive to it, that these things or these points, and I mean, if he must have given you a solution at the answer that you wanted, maybe you would not be where you are right now, or at least.
No, 100%.
You know?
In the whole journey until today, as painful as it may be, or as painful as things may get, or as confused or complicated as it may get, I am always, always grateful and thankful for what I'm going through, because it is teaching me a lot. It is helping me help others around me. And it's making me get through my own journey. So although it's tough, it's at the other end, there's a light. So no, I do get what you're saying, and I maybe can't relate the same experience that you had, but I feel sometimes I get super worried and super anxious, and I mean me and Alex were discussing what is really anxiety, what is it, and I get super worried sometimes, and people tell me like, why do you get worried? What's the point of being worried? Worrying is not even solving. You don't solve the problem when you're worried. So a lot of that, and I'm the type of person, I bottle a lot inside me. So I don't, and it comes out once, and sometimes I have it and I don't know what to say or don't know what to do. So I'm trying to. I want to relate to what you went through, and it's just interesting to see that different side. There's something that you said. It's like one harder question after the other. Please go ahead.
There's something that you said actually. The sentence itself is quite inspiring and powerful. You said, "Loss has inspired me to create something to live for." Explain that, please. I know that it's quite personal for you, but it's quite impactful. I think, yeah.
In my life, I have endured a lot of losses ever since I was young. I'm the type of person or human that is sensitive in a way where things that happen around me affect me internally. So ever since I was young, I've endured and seen loss, whether it is loss through death, or loss of a friend, or loss of whatever it is. It has been around me ever since I was young, and it kind of triggered the last bit of me when I lost my grandfather. My grandfather was someone that I highly looked up to. He was a man that was our best friend. We were not his grandchildren. We were his best friends. And we had a really tight bond with him. And each of us had a personal bond with him personally.
Yeah.
So that was very beautiful of him to be that kind of grandfather. So when I had lost him, and because he was that, as a child, for some odd reason, I kind of thought he's like immortal.
We all had this.
It was just this person. To me, this person, I never thought about him leaving. Like there was always, death exists because I've seen it. I've seen it happen ever since I was little. My mom losing her uncle, my mom losing her cousins, or whatever it is, it was there and I knew it existed. But for me, this man was immortal for some reason. When I lost him, I was pretty old to understand that he's not immortal, obviously, but it just triggers something inside of you that is like, okay, wow, just stop, pause, wait a minute. It's heavy, it's heavy. So that it kind of got me to reevaluate everything in my life. When I lost him, when I saw my mother lose her father as well, in that perspective as well. So me losing my grandfather, but also my mother losing her father. It's a whole different kind of pain. And to me, I'm overly, I don't know if you can put it that way, overly attached to my mother, in a sense where I kind of can feel her pain. And through that time, it was really heavy to feel her pain. It was hard to be able to witness that, and knowing that one day I'm gonna witness that. So the thought kind of spiraled from me losing my grandfather to my mom being in the perspective of losing her father, and then back to one day this is gonna happen to me. And it kind of just threw me off majorly. And this is the kind of loss that inspired me to create something for myself that I want to live for it. I want to create something that I can be able to wake up every morning and be able to inspire myself and everyone around me, So that's where that came from.
I think it's super powerful because you went to the lowest point you possibly could go, and in a very dark place. And I feel that you should see it in another way, is that is where you shine properly and you manage to just overcome it. And I want you I know it was difficult to talk about this, but I wanted you to say this because I feel that what you're doing is not just a source of inspiration, but people don't, like, they feel that it's only that. They go to this dark place and there's nothing that can come out of it. Or sometimes you're in a very good place and you're not creating anything or you're not producing something. So I really wanted to give this perspective to you.
I believe, like, the most creative things, the most inspiring, motivating things come out of the darkest, most painful places. That's my true inner belief. And there's so much healing that can happen through your pain. If we just listen to the pain and what it's trying to tell us and why it's even there to begin with, there is so much healing through that. So I agree with you.
Spoken like a true artist. What do you think, Alex? I get the thumbs up and we're like, okay, maybe tone it down a bit. And I'm like, no, but I wanted to give this perspective. I know that it wasn't easy, but
no, it's fine. We can talk about anything here. Really.
we were just talking about it earlier. It's like, this is a safe space, but now but why do you have to say that it's safe? Khalas, it should be a given that it's a safe space.
Exactly.
And yeah, it's just, but and this is it's maybe a nice segue taken to what do you think of where you are right now and like in the show, doing the show. What do you think of the name of the show, like Nobody's Famous? What is that to you?
I like it. I really do. I'll tell you why. It becomes relatable when you see a podcast or something to watch that says Nobody's Famous. You kind of go and you want to relate to it because it's true. Whether you're famous or you're not famous, you're not famous. You're a human being.
Yeah.
So it kind of rips out the title
Yeah.
And I like that it kind of, it did. What you did is you called your podcast Nobody's Famous. And even if someone's famous on it, they're not famous.
They stripped it down.
You just stripped down the title, and I love that.
Yeah, it's I'm such a like a fanboy sometimes. I feel like in your presence, like I be honest with you, actually I was quite nervous before in the show.
Why?
No, because it's like because you've done so much, and you're such a strong person in your own right. So I was like thinking, when I ask this question, what's she gonna think? She just flipped the table on me or something. So I was like, no, because I felt like I mean, I was, doing a bit of research. I was reading some articles, and there should be more stories like you should be told, and you worked on yourself. There's tough parts that you've been through, and yet you're as bubbly as they can be. which is great, and which is great, and I yeah, it's amazing, and I think that's so what you did with Exhale, that is did it come from your anxiety, or was like you saw mental health as a taboo topic and you're like, okay, let's try to change this?
It sparked because of my losses and my anxiety and my chaotic brain. It sparked from there, and it sparked obviously because of the anxiety that I had that kept spurring around and coming back and manifesting itself through panic attacks or pain or tears or whatever it may be. And that's how it sparked. And throughout the journey, I worked so hard to get it to where it is today. And I saw a pattern that Exhale is always blooming when I bloom. Exhale is always sad when I'm sad.
Yeah.
I saw a pattern of people loving to see me speak about it, me tell the story about it. And I was kind of in the back. I didn't want to. I wanted it to speak for itself. But then I kind of figured that I'm expecting a child to speak for himself or herself.
Yeah.
So how is that going to be possible? So I started realizing there's a pattern of emotion, in the brand that is very strong and relatable to all my pains. So I always did my best to translate that not so heavily into the brand, into the messaging of the brand. And it started flourishing itself and healing me.
Yeah, I think I agree, because what you're doing is you have something in your mind, and once it's created, or you can see or you can feel, you can touch it, it triggers another type of emotion. You're like, I did this. There's a lot of time put into that.
100%, and over the years, it started healing me in a way where I could focus on something I love, but at the same time focus on healing my pain through something I love. And that to me was everything. And this is how it started flourishing through mental health, because it's what it's doing to me, It's dealing with my mental health or mental wellness or flourishing that, you know what I mean? So I figured if we try to take that path even stronger, I wanted to try to reach everyone else who's dealing with these things and relate to it, and maybe have this portal of healing where it can be all a unified healing, you know what I mean? So I just really believe in the power of communication, especially if someone is suffering from a certain kind of pain or a mental illness. Communication is really powerful.
That's what we're doing here.
Exactly.
We're communicating about it. Yeah,
Exactly.
that's one of the contexts of doing this show with you, actually. And I like how you, with Exhale, what you said was, one of the first things that you do is when you see someone, you probably judge them. You judge them because of what they're wearing, and that's where you had maybe partially the idea to do it as a clothing brand. I really like that, but I see it in a different way. Sometimes you might look and see someone, and they might be wearing something that isn't that great or whatever. But if you actually take the time, maybe to accept that person, or maybe speak to that person, you realize, wow, actually that.
They're great people.
Yeah, I really like the way you discuss, and it's difficult. I think it's difficult where we are in the world, and where others are, like in the West. I feel is people, maybe there they don't judge as much as maybe what you wear here. People judge more. I find it quite interesting that has that always been like the message you were trying to convey? That
I mean, when I started the brand, I was trying to always look for something that can become a product to people that is tangible. Because at the end of the day, I always say this, kindness or help or all these things don't sell. They're not tangible.
that's true.
They don't sell. They don't make you a living.
you can't sell kindness, but you can sell laughter, though. Right?
Can you?
Yeah, you can
Well,
sell
Joker
laughter.
did.
Well, in a very different way. And topic off the rails. I'm joking. Yeah.
So I tried to find a product that I can merge this kind of message into, but also the product to reach everyone, to reach the mass, to be relatable to everyone. And obviously we all need to wear clothes, so clothing works. But another thing is that there was always the struggle to find comfort clothing that is meaningful. That is meaningful, that says something meaningful, that relates to you on a bad day or a good day or a comfortable day, or. So I figured Exhale can be that. It can send its messages through that stream and use clothing as a tool of communicating that kind of message. And yeah, this is why I chose clothing. And it's true, people judge you from your first look. And it's not something bad. It's something human. It's something human.
Yeah.
I mean, we all do it. We all look at something and directly have a thought. And it's on us to be aware about this thought and be like, okay, we should change that.
No, this is true. And I like that you called it Exhale as well. I did go through something difficult in the end of like 2016, and one of the things I said to myself, so I don't get stressed or something, I actually put it on my phone, like a reminder every day, and it's very simple, and it says, be positive and breathe. So it's just something I say to myself, and then even if I took an extra breath that day because of this random thing that I had on my phone, it actually will help, and that's where I wanted to put meditation into overdrive and do these types of things, because I think it did make a difference for me. The year before that, I was very stressed at work, and I started that year doing meditation, and actually it did change things for me. So when you say exhale, I understand. You just let go of all these things that you've been building up inside, and you just let it go. And it's that
100%.
simple.
Yeah,
she just exhaled.
Yeah. It's the simplest words, really, that can make the most powerful impact inside of us. Just the simple message of breathe is what got me through a lot of my panic attacks. Like, just the simple word, breathe. An ambulance would come, and doctors, and all that, and everything. And the only word that would help me is when they tell me, literally, an ambulance... one of the
first responders, or the paramedics.
The paramedic, that's the word. That's what I was looking for. So one of the paramedics, he was trying to like calm my panic attack down one of the days, and he just actually came really close to my ear, and he's like, "Listen, just listen to me," and suddenly my thought is all with his voice, but my whole body is on seizure mode.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I completely forgot that my body's seizuring, and my brain was focusing with his voice. He just came really close to my ear. He's like, "Listen, just listen." I looked. I'm like, "What?" Like, I'm seizuring. He goes like, "Breathe, just breathe." He's like, "I want you to know your panic attack is because you're not breathing," and I'm like, "What a ridiculous thing to say."
What a different perspective.
I'm not breathing.
Yeah.
And then I realized I was breathing in a certain pattern that was not right for my body, hence it was increasing the attack. And that stayed with me. And when I lost my grandfather that day, I was actually alone. And the only word that helped me deal with my panic attack on my own for the first time was that word. Nawal, breathe. Inhale, exhale, okay. And I did it. And although I lost my grandfather, I woke up the next morning and felt so proud of myself. Like, did I just go through this huge impact in my life, but did I have one panic attack with no one around me or beside me? And I felt this kind of empowerment. Oh no, wow, I should communicate that to everybody. Was it that powerful, you know? And I woke up the next day, I'm like, I have to tattoo this word exhale on my ribs. And I went to the shop and I never tattooed the thing on my ribs. But when I went back home, when I came here to Dubai, I was brainstorming what to do. And exhale was always on top of the paper, the word. Whatever I was going to do, whatever the business is going to be, it's going to be called exhale.
Regardless of whether it was clothing.
Whatever it is, I want it to be exhale because that word means so much to me. So yeah.
The impact. The impact. No, it's...
yeah.
No, I don't know. I love it. It's
Thank
really
you.
cool. I love it. And I actually, when I first started to get to know you, was through a common friend. It was Rahaf, actually.
Rahaf.
Yeah. She told me,
Rahaf.
you should interview her. So I'm like, yes, sure. I didn't think it was a clothing brand only. I thought it was like something like maybe like a group, focus group.
Okay.
Because I was looking at that, what's written on one of the t-shirts, which I can't say on the show because we got a clean show. So I can't say it, but I was looking at it. I was like, okay, that's really nice. It's just like a remembrance and for things like that. And so I thought the word or like the brand that you created was not clothing. I thought it was more than that. I didn't see the clothes first.
And I love that because it is more than that. It is not first clothes.
Mm-hmm.
It is first the message that reaches you, and then it's the clothes. And I always want people to feel that as well. When people are wearing exhale, I actually want them to feel naked. I want them to feel like they're in their skin. That this is something that's so relatable to me that wearing it, I feel naked. You know, that comfortable.
It doesn't matter what
that comfortable, that relatable to me. And yeah. My stream of thought just left right now, by the way.
Can we move on, please?
Rewind.
Make sure to cut that out. No, yeah. Okay, that's a very nice conclusion to that exhale story. I noticed on your Instagram yesterday, actually, you posted that you used to play the drums,
Yeah.
used to music, singing. I think something you were singing and
drumming.
Yeah, all this stuff. And I'm like,
painting.
And you were very like vocal, painting as well. Yeah, you were very very vocal about it, saying like, oh, I was suppressing these things, but khalas now.
Now I'm just
gotta bring it back, you know. And I find this is
new.
This is new. It's new, and you're being honest about it, and which is great. And
it's part of the journey that I'm on.
Yeah. So what can we expect?
I have no idea what to expect myself. So
one woman band.
I will. Yeah, maybe. Literally, you see the edits of me playing piano, drums, and singing, and then it'll be a full song.
The montage.
That is something I have in mind.
Yeah, you should. I mean,
why not?
Why not? I mean, so I found that post quite interesting. I'm like, yeah, it's something that we kind of experienced a bit on the show. Is I was talking to Alex a lot about this, and like, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this, and then
I want to do everything.
I want to do the show. I want to interview this person. I want to do this. And then Alex is just there, and he sees me just doing
blabbing,
chatting, and then one day, it was my birthday actually. The night before, and I was in a pub in Beirut. Oh, now you know. And I was a pub in Beirut, and I saw a friend of mine, and he plays the guitar, and I was telling him, please, I mean, I'm trying to do this new show, and I want to interview you, because the show is called Nobody's Famous. Just anybody, I want to interview anyone. And he's like, what are you still doing? Like, why you didn't start yet, and whatever. So I called Alex, and I told him exactly this. I told him exactly what happened, and he's like, okay. I don't remember if you gave me any reaction, but he was like, okay. Next day he sends me a video showing me all the stuff that he bought. He bought all the equipment, and he's like, "Khalas, do it now. I called your bluff. What are you gonna do now?" And it was just the same way you experienced. It was like just the push that I needed, and then we came back. I came back 5 days later. We did the first pilot episode. I was like, "God damn, this is good."
Yeah,
you know, I was
that's amazing. It always has to. You always have to take that first step. And your friend is right. You had something in mind, and this is what always sets us back. We want the perfect person to interview. We want the perfect time to do this. But there is no. You just have to start. And when you start, you will find when or who is the perfect person. When is the perfect time? The journey starts telling you things.
Yeah, this is exactly what even Alex told me. It's like analysis paralysis, and don't, like, it doesn't have to be perfect and stuff. So a lot of these things came up in last year when we were doing the show. So I completely agree. You like music though as well, right?
I love music.
You love music, right?
So much.
I noticed that you like music. Okay, let me ask you this question: who, in your opinion, is the most underrated artist right now? Music artist, if you like. Be more specific.
I don't know. I'm not like, it's not that kind of party for me.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not that kind. I mean, I love music as in, I relate to it so much. There are certain phases in my life where certain music would heal me, or certain music would allow me to get over certain thoughts and stuff like that. But I can't now go through who is underrated, overrated, and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. No. We.
Who do you think is underrated?
Me? I don't know. He's no longer underrated. But no. I was thinking of Khalid, but I think when he came onto the scene, he just blew up. So I don't think there was any phase where he wasn't. And again, like, we have to. I think this question needs to be upgraded now for season 2, because when we say underrated, it sounds like if you're overrated is bad. Yeah. It's not kind of like what we meant. What we mean is like underrated, not very well.
Yeah, not well known and should be known.
Yeah, and should be known.
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah, and
I'll do my research and come back to you on that.
No worries. Send us an email.
I'll send you an email. Yeah, you can put it on your next episode.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think it was just, I think we have to upgrade that question.
It's a great question. It's just I don't know. That's all.
Okay. Coming back to a bit of the mental health, do you think that there's a relationship between social media and mental health?
Yeah, of course.
Like,
for me at least.
We were discussing it, like, in terms of, we were discussing it with my other team member, like, is it like there's positive effects to it and there's negative effects, but do you think that, like, what do you think, which one is outweighing the other?
I think it's not what, I think it's more about what we choose to do with it. I think it's more about how we balance our life using it. A lot of times when I'm overusing social media, where a lot of my time throughout that day was on social media, and a lot of times I have to be there because I need to do my posts for Exhale and a little research here and there, look for different artists and artworks and stuff like that. So when that is the day and it happens, I kind of feel boggled in my head. There's a lot of static, you know? And this is where I feel like there's a lot of notifications coming in, group chats and all that stuff. And they're great, you know, if you're balancing and you're having nice conversations and just setting it aside. When it's aside, and you respect that time, then I think it's great, but it's all about balance.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
No, I agree as well, and I feel like it because there is that paradox, like you're using your brand and the message to convey it through social media. And some people on social media, just overall they look, especially like with Instagram nowadays, you look and you see these amazing lives, and you have to compare yourself. And I'm one of those people. I compare so much in my head, and it's just
Really?
it's so bad, because I feel like, oh, I'm not doing something like this
Yeah.
now. I should be doing this, and it's just
Yeah, and there's a constant chatter in your head where you're not doing enough, and
yeah.
this is where self-sabotage comes in and all that. Yeah, I relate to that. I no longer relate to that. I solely use my social media for inspiration, motivation, my business. I try my best that when I'm going through stories or whatever it is, I don't consume too much of that. Yeah, I don't consume too much of that. I choose who to see, what to see.
Yeah.
Not because I like one more than the other. It's just I really want to minimize my times
Yeah.
doing these things, and I want to refrain myself from reaching this kind of comparison. And if anything, I've came to realize that there's nothing to compare yourself to, if this makes sense. No matter who's living what life, there's really nothing for you to compare, because at the end of the day, you're just the same as this person, except you're on a different journey, doing different choices.
Different circumstances.
You're eventually gonna be where that person is if it's for the better, and you're eventually probably have passed something that has been worse for someone else or will pass. So we're just really on the same journey, except you're gonna experience it later or before or whatever it is, So if you have that kind of mentality, you would look at their stories or lives and be like, that's awesome for them.
Great, yeah,
no,
great.
that's awesome for them, and genuinely feel the happiness from your heart that this person is experiencing something as beautiful as this experience, and I try to look at it as, how can I be inspired through that? I always try to have this kind of perspective of, this is amazing. I don't wish it was me. I just want to see how I can get inspired from that. You know what I mean? And yeah, I think that's a better perspective to just put yourself in.
Yeah, I believe you can compare to something, and that's
Like?
yourself only.
100%.
And
Your previous self?
yeah, previous self. And I experienced that a lot in my life when I first started working in 2010, and then where I was in 2014. Those are different times in my life. I always compare myself to then. And the way I see it is, as long as you're comparing yourself to where you were before and you're better now, it's enough.
Yeah.
I think it's enough, and
I believe so too. I mean, it's always good to reevaluate yourself and to see where you reached on your journey and what needs to get better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Nawal, two more things. You are a woman of challenges. You've overcome a lot of challenges. What is the next challenge for you, if you know what it is?
So I'm on this journey where I really want to break all my fears. I'm looking for them.
All of them.
All of them.
كلهم.
All of them.
Not keeping one.
Not
Okay.
one. When I'm done, I look for more.
Great.
And I dig more.
Great.
And I try to see where is it hiding? Because I don't want you to come one day and manifest through something, or I just want to understand now everything. Nawal, you're afraid of, bring it up, and let's face it. I've been through something recently in my life that kind of opened that door, where I said something, dealt with something, and the door kind of opened that all my fears kind of surfaced at once. And it was really difficult, really, really difficult to deal with. But I'm embracing it, and I love it, because I want to eliminate every single fear living inside of me, or has been living inside of me and manifesting itself inside of me. So at the moment, this is my challenge and my journey internally. Externally.
That's a lot of challenges in one, by the way, just to let you know.
What is your challenge?
My challenge?
Yeah.
Actually, that was gonna be my next question. Is like, what's your question to me? But okay.
Yeah.
But what's my challenge? Oh my God. I don't know. It's a tough question to answer. There was a point in my life where I didn't know what I was good at.
Mm.
I didn't know. Like I didn't have. Like I was like, okay, I'm good at. I can work hard on this, and I like this, but I'm not successful in that. Like I like video games a lot, and I couldn't. Like I can't. You know, it's gonna take me too long to be successful there. Nothing I was gonna do is gonna be extremely unique. So I had this challenge of finding out what am I really good at that someone. I mean, again, I don't want somebody else to have this judgment of that it's their judgment, and then I'll be, oh great, yeah. But I felt this challenge, like what am I good at, and then I found out it's voiceover, or at least voice acting, these kinds of things. And I said to myself, okay, this is something that I own, and I was looking for whatever it is I was looking for. I was looking all around. I was looking for something external, like I'm good at doing this, or I'm good at doing this, or I'm good at this job or this job. And I realized that I overcame the challenge when I realized what I was looking for was
Internal.
literally right there.
Yeah.
It was right there. I just had to listen to myself
Yeah.
and be confident that what I'm saying will make someone go, wow. So I was like,
Yeah.
you know,
It's all about that.
and I was like, okay, there it is. So that was a big challenge for me. But my upcoming challenges,
Tell me one.
I don't know. Upcoming challenges. I think this is a tough question for me, because I actually don't. I just take them as they go. I don't really think that something's gonna come up, or
Yeah.
I think a challenge, but it's something that I would relish, is probably raising a family.
Yeah.
I wouldn't see it as a challenge. I see it as a challenge, but I feel that this is my
You're
this
next.
is my next step. Yeah. my
Awesome.
next step.
That's beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Do you have any other questions for me? You jumped me on that one. I was like,
That's your next
That was
question.
my next question.
Another question for you.
You can cut the show now, Alex.
Cut it before she hits me. What was your turning point in your life?
Turning point.
What was the internal turning point?
Wow, this is like, it's just hitting each other so harder. In this, oh my God, I don't know. I think I was when I was in Spain. I studied in Spain for a year. When I was there, I think that was like I was super broken down from like a relationship, and it was just everything came over at the same time, and I was so like just really hurt, and I was
Fragile.
I was very fragile, and again this anxiety thing would come up, and I was just so like,
How did your
worried
anxiety manifest itself?
I don't know if it was actually anxiety, but I would get so worried. Like I start building scenarios in my head, like, oh my God, I'm gonna be like this. I'm gonna be like this. What am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? And I was alone. I was alone because I was there in Spain. Like okay, I was living alone, so that amplified all the pain, because I didn't really have like. Okay, I used to speak to my mom, but my mom she's in Abu Dhabi. She's not in Madrid with me. So I'm there, and the pain would amplify. And I'll be alone, and I just have all these thoughts, and they just. So then the turning point was, it was a couple of days that I was feeling like this. The turning point was, I said to myself, you know what, Ali, are you gonna stay? Are you gonna stay being sad and just crying? And I was literally crying in a corner, just crying. And wallah, yani, things like that. I was crying in a corner, and I was super sad. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna get out. I'm gonna ask this person out, like another person. I'm gonna ask this person out, and I'm gonna. Khalas, this is it. This is the turning point. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna be happy. Forget it. You know, that was a big turning point for me. I was like, I just said to myself, like, I cannot be like this.
Yeah.
And it's not fair for me, because that's not who I am. It was always something external that affects me, and naturally, I know that I try to be a happy person and say, okay, that's a challenge, but I can do it. You know, I'll work hard, I'll make it happen. And that was one of those points I said, why am I supposed to be like this? I shouldn't be like this. And I accepted this thing internally, and I just...
And I'm glad that you can actually sit here and talk about, as a man, not to bring up any sexism right now, and talk about your tears.
Yeah.
To be honest, that is applaudable, because a lot of, again, if we want to go back to stigma, it's not something a lot of men talk about. And it's nice to see you talk about your tears and that you cried in a little corner and you were fragile.
In the kitchen.
Yeah.
Yeah, we laugh about
give
it
us
now.
More, give us more details.
Yeah, it was in the kitchen, I tell you.
That's great. I mean, really, it's good to talk about it now and laugh about it.
Yeah. I'm glad you asked that question.
And it normalizes that you cried in a kitchen, in the corner, on your own. It's normal. Yeah.
In Madrid.
It's human. In Madrid.
In Madrid. In the fourth floor of that apartment. Was it the fourth floor? No, it was the second floor. I don't remember.
Well, it normalizes it. That's what I'm... Not normalizes it. It makes you more human.
No, I completely
always
agree.
say, when people talk about their emotions and their feelings, you become more human. As human beings, we are judging ourselves and each other 24/7 on such a speed that the more you don't speak about your emotions, the more the story that we're telling ourselves about ourselves or about the people in front of us is true. But the more you tell me about your emotions and your stories and your tears, the more you become human to me, and the more everything in my mind demolishes. Oh, he's probably like this, or he's probably like... It demolishes it completely. And I wish people would truly understand the power of communication, the power of speaking about your tears, your emotions, what hurt you, what didn't. It's not about, why do we have to always talk about depressing things or deep things? It's not about that. It's about, I'm human, you're human, and we're all secretly in pain. Sometimes we can talk about it, you know? Yeah. And then laugh about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Exactly. I mean, I try my best to laugh at myself. What a great ending.
Thank you for having me, and thank you, Rahaf, for bringing us together.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Shout out to Rahaf, by the way. You will be next. Can you imagine?
We can see you.
Yeah. In a warehouse somewhere far, far away.
Truly, by the way, he's not joking.
He's like going around in circles, like, where's the show?
I'm like, hey, I'm around, but in circles.
Yeah.
Where are you?
Yeah. I was actually dreading that specific moment that she's like,
no, not at all.
And I saw the message. I'm like, okay, she's a bit like fine. Okay, it's fine. She's like, I'm around, but I'm in circles. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I'm around, I'm in circles. But actually, I was rapping to Eminem. It's completely fine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was happy.
Okay, fine. Okay, great.
The longer it took, the better for my rap.
Okay, nice. And when you arrived to the warehouse,
I'm like,
you lowered the volume.
I can't hear this stuff.
Lower the volume so you can focus.
Yeah, 100%.
What an Arab thing. Anyway.
Thank you for having me, Ali.
It's been a pleasure. Really, thank you so much for coming on the show. It's been awesome. Alex, again, thank you so much.
Thank you, Alex.
It's been a pleasure on the Nobody's Famous podcast. Thank you for everyone who tuned in. You can find us on SoundCloud, Spotify, Stitcher. What?
And I was like, ain't nobody famous.
Ain't nobody famous. She's like she's doing our jingle, our exit jingle at the end. Ain't nobody famous.
Ain't nobody famous.
And you can find us on YouTube. And please don't watch us while driving. Listen to us. We'll be with you all the way. Signing off.
Bye.